Tonight on CFTK-TV News, the workers trapped in the Red Chris mine were finally freed. A new Westminster restaurant owner is worried about the perception of crime in the community, and a suspicious Abbotsford death is being investigated.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin. Here's what's making news in the Northwest and beyond. There was much relief in northern BC as 3 workers trapped inside a mine half a kilometer underground for over 2 days were rescued. It was a complicated operation, but it happened much faster than experts anticipated. CTV's Reagan Hasegawa has our top story.
After more than 60 hours trapped deep underground, these scenic views of the Red Chris mine are a sight for sore eyes.
3 workers from high-tech drilling who were safely brought to surface last night. They are being reunited with their families early this morning. We are deeply relieved that all 3 individuals are safe and in good health and spirits.
One worker described the ordeal as a wild week and said he was glad to be out of there. The diamond drillers from BC, Manitoba, and Ontario were rescued faster than experts had expected, thanks to their quick thinking and the help of new technology.
Safety protocols work. Incredible that Kevin, Darren, and Jesse did exactly what they were trained to do, and because of that, they stayed safe.
The trio got trapped Tuesday after 2 rock falls in the access tunnel. They were able to get to a refuge chamber equipped with everything they needed to survive for weeks, but they did lose all communication.
We do the daily inspections, we do monthly inspections, we actually do second line of defense inspections with teams from external to observe and see. This one that caught us by surprise.
Experts say these kinds of rock falls are rare.
It's just nothing but uncertainty, radical uncertainty.
He says it appears everything was done to prevent the disaster, but the nature of the work is unpredictable.
They were probably drilling holes for explosives. What they were building was a ramp, or what was known as a decline into the underground.
He expects we'll soon be hearing about these kinds of situations more often.
BC is really open pit mining country, and it has been for a while. Very few underground mines. We're going to see more underground mines because of the demand for metals.
BC may lead the industry in safety, but experts warn automation is the next step to prevent future emergencies. The open pit mine at Red Chris is resuming operations, but the underground project will remain closed until the investigation is complete. Reagan Hasegawa, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Kitimat RCMP has put out a brand new report that listed off the more notable incidents that they encountered between the dates of July 17th and 23rd. One of the incidents on the report that typically doesn't appear very often saw officers get word that a pair of paddleboarders had run into some issues while they were near Minette Bay. The issues apparently arose when the wind picked up and the pair got caught up with a log. Luckily, the paddlers were wearing brightly colored clothes, which allowed officers to find them quickly and escort them safely back to shore without any injuries. The Terrace RCMP have released the results of what they have gathered after implementing their community safety and targeted enforcement program for about a month now. The program's funding has led to officers taking on more overtime shifts, and in that month of time, the Terrace RCMP have made 64 additional arrests. Some of those arrests have also led to the police seizing weapons like bear spray, brass knuckles, throwing axes / knives, and even long swords and katanas, while they've also seized drugs such as fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine. The program is set to last until mid-October of this year. And on this August 9th to 15th, Noah Allison is running for Prince Rupert Terrace, a 7-day marathon in memory of his father Marcus, who passed away after a courageous battle with cancer. Helen Asante shares his story.
In every mile he runs, there is a memory, a laugh, a lesson, a love that hasn't faded. After losing his father to cancer, this run has become his way of carrying Marcus forward, step by step from Prince Rupert to Terrace. Noah Allison speaks with raw emotion about his father, Marcus, a man he describes as strong, wise, and selfless.
Marcus was somebody who never gave up, and he always found the silver lining in whatever it was that came up. We've gone through a lot in our life, a lot of financial trouble where he worked multiple jobs, then with his cancer diagnosis throughout COVID and isolation, that was its own struggle. And what really inspired me with Marcus and the type of person he was after his amputation, unfortunately due to cancer complications. Instead of complaining and letting that get him down, he immediately just looked into how to get a prosthetic and what the process was for that. And that just really speaks to his determination and drive, and just the fact that he never let that type of thing get him down.
Noah says the support from the community has been overwhelming, from donations to messages to people cheering him on from the sidelines.
Far from the community has been next level. It was something I was actually talking about on my Instagram story the other day, was I can't go on a run in this town anymore in the last 2-3 weeks without people honking, yelling out the window, seeing people on the street, especially being a small town. You usually see people anyways, but whereas previously it was a wave or whatnot, now everyone's honking, screaming, all excited for the event. So the day-to-day support that I'm receiving just on my training runs has been incredible, and fundraising-wise, we're doing amazing.
During the interview, Noah broke down, overcome with emotion. And in that moment, it was clear this is more than a marathon. It's grief, love, and healing emotion.
Yeah, emotionally, that's the tough part. You know, at this time of year, this is my 3rd annual time doing a run like this, and it is emotional. I shed a lot of tears on my runs, but that's the real side of things, right? Ever since I've lost Marcus, it's inspired me to keep pushing and keep fundraising and keep pushing the boundaries. So it's something that carries me forward, as emotional as it can be. There's times when you feel like giving up and it's easy, but I found my passion and I found my why, and it's one of the things that I tell people that are going through tough times, whether it's mental health, whether it's physical tough times or whatever it may be, is to keep going and to try to find your passion, and it'll keep you going on tough days.
Noah runs with purpose and with the spirit of his father guiding him every step of the way. Helen Asante, CFTK-TV News.
Coming up next is a look at a brutal murder in a Maple Ridge neighborhood. Welcome back. He was a teacher and his wife a banker. A couple in their early 60s, recently retired, were murdered in their own home. The man believed to have shot them as a neighbor, and more is being unraveled about the deadly violence that shocked a Maple Ridge neighborhood. CTV's Ben Nisbet spoke with friends of the couple, stunned at how their lives came to such a horrific end.
2 days after the stunning murder, this Maple Ridge neighborhood remains taped off. Investigators out in full force, trying to piece together what exactly happened, while those close to the victims continue to try and process this tragedy.
Something so quick, so unexpected, and senseless.
Friends have identified the couple as Bruce Richards and Roxanne Davidson, both in their early 60s. Bruce was a teacher in Coquitlam for decades, while Roxanne was a financial advisor, but both had recently retired. Their friend Daryl Lucas says they enjoyed traveling and spending time with their kids and grandchildren.
They were living just a life in retirement that we probably all would love to live and hope to get to.
Ridge Meadows RCMP officers found them and their dog dead inside their home near 239 Street and 118A Avenue late Wednesday night. Their vehicle and multiple others on the streets were also set on fire. Police say a male suspect who lived across the road was armed with a weapon when he fled back to his house. Investigators say they found him dead from a self-inflicted injury hours later. What exactly led to the deadly incident has yet to be revealed by investigators, but neighbors say the two households had long had issues over parking, with a few confrontations in the past. But of course, nothing even close to this magnitude. Police haven't provided any information about the suspect, but neighbors described him as a middle-aged man. IHIT is investigating the murders of Roxanne and Bruce, two people who Lucas says did not have a bad bone in their bodies.
Life isn't fair at times, and this is a classic example of life not being fair, taking these two wonderful people way too early.
Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Maple Ridge.
A new Westminster restaurant owner worries perception about crime in the community doesn't line up with reality and could keep customers away. As CTV's Ben Milger reports, service providers for the vulnerable also have concerns and worry the actions of a few will stigmatize people in need.
A man wielding a machete threatens staff before helping himself to some food and fleeing a restaurant. It's a high-profile example of violent crime in New Westminster. Alejandro Diaz, owner of El Santo, a different restaurant, says crimes like that are an anomaly, not the norm. He worries New West is getting an undeserved reputation, one that could be keeping customers away.
What I have been hearing a lot lately is that there is lots of crime in New West. And as people hear that, people are going to stop talking to the community. I really think that for us as the community, it would be good to talk about the great things that we have.
The annual summer barbecue at Union Gospel Mission draws hundreds of people looking for a meal and some human connection.
For us, it's kind of a chance to connect with our wider community, maybe form that kind of first point of connection with someone.
Service providers, including the UGM, support some of the most vulnerable in the community, many of whom are often victims of crime themselves, not the perpetrators.
People here don't deserve stigmatization. They don't deserve to be judged. They deserve a helping hand, and for us to meet them where they are at in their life.
It's a sentiment shared by City Councillor Ruby Campbell, who volunteered at the barbecue.
If the most vulnerable in your community are well taken care of, it rises the whole community, right? And so individuals, residents, businesses can all thrive if the most vulnerable are actually well supported.
Back at El Santo, Diaz says he understands addiction and homelessness can make people uneasy.
I respect other people's perception, but I think that for me it's also important to know that, it's being uncomfortable is different than being unsafe.
New West police say additional funding from the province has allowed them to increase patrols in the downtown core. Ben Milger, CTV News, New Westminster.
And now we take a look at both your nightly and weekly weather forecast. On the north coast, tonight expects to see a chance of showers with a low at 13 degrees, and the rest of the week expects to be pretty much all rain as their high bounces between 19 and 16 degrees. In the Terrace Kitimat area, tonight also calls for a chance of showers, but with a low of 15 degrees, with the upcoming week starting off with clearing and sunny conditions before some clouds come in at the end of the week, while their high shifts from 26 to 22 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the forecast for tonight should be partly cloudy and have a low at 12 degrees, while the weekly forecast will likely see clearing and sunny conditions most of the time, before a few clouds come in at the end as well, and their high will move from 30 to 23 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. Highway 16 has construction work, bridge maintenance, utility work planned, ditching, road sweeping, road maintenance work, paving operations, line painting, maintenance planned, and road construction work. Highway 37 has bridge maintenance, crack sealing, and road maintenance work, and Highway 37A is still dealing with falling rocks between west of Messiaen and east of Stewart, plus paving operations, road sweeping, and maintenance. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, reaction to the Hockey Canada trial verdicts kept pouring in. Welcome back. Police are investigating a suspicious death at an Abbotsford care home, with detectives trying to uncover what led up to what's being called two medical emergencies. CTV's Craig Krause has more.
More questions than answers here in Abbotsford as police trying to put the pieces together after a senior died in what is being deemed a suspicious incident. Police say this all stemmed from a call on July 6 by the local hospital about two patients who had been transferred from mental home while experiencing medical emergencies that they say raised concerns due to their suspicious nature. The Abbotsford Police Department says one of those patients, who police say are both seniors, died on July 10th, sparking the Major Crimes Unit to investigate. Here's what police said when asked about what makes this suspicious.
That's a question that I think a lot of people want to know, and that's a thing that we are looking to find out. Medical staff are trained to look at their world in the medical world, just as the police when we look at different investigations. From their training and experience, for what they were seeing that day, led them to believe there were some things that were concerning in their minds.
What that was remains unanswered. Mental Home did not provide an interview, but wrote in a statement that it is fully supporting police in their process and that the safety and well-being of the residents is their top priority. Fraser Health Authority, who funds 196 beds at Mental Home, told CTV News that it has high expectations about safety for people in care in their contracted service providers, and its licensing team is investigating the situation with Mental Home leadership. And I'm being told that Mental Home has put in additional safety measures to keep residents safe, and now as the investigation gets underway, police confirm that there have been no arrests or charges that have been laid. Craig Krause, CTV News, Abbotsford.
Reactions continued to pour in after all 5 former junior hockey players were acquitted in a high-profile sexual assault trial. The story captured national headlines, putting a focus on hockey culture and the meaning of consent. CTV's Adrian Gabriel reports.
A verdict delivered, a sports culture remains in the spotlight.
They found me lying on a floor in the bathroom, unconscious.
Kathleen LaRoche was 23 years old when she believed she was drugged and then eventually sexually assaulted in 2015 by a major junior hockey player in Quebec, who she says would go on to have a successful NHL career.
I called him. They found me unconscious. What happened? He said, just the only thing is I'm about to sign with the NHL. Please don't talk about it. That's what I did.
In denial for years, she suppressed the memory of what she says took place.
When Me Too wave came, my body started having anxiety symptoms, as if my body remembered, even if my head didn't want to.
As part of her personal journey and to help educate athletes, LaRoche is now working with hockey players and coaches at all levels, starting as young as 15 years old, sharing her experience and the importance of consent and self-awareness.
I want to educate people like him to protect people like me.
Author Laura Robinson wrote Crossing the Line, that examines the pervasive culture of Canada's national sport.
In my book, I have 2 guys who were convicted, actually, Jarrett Reed and Andrew Power, as they were convicted as junior players. They're both coaching right now.
Following this week's verdicts, one-time star goalie Carter Hart had his lawyer share this message.
He is committed to sharing what he has learned with others in his personal circle and in his professional life.
We need to hear what Carter Hart believes those lessons are. We have to stop acting like this, and we have to make sure that there's not a generation after us acting like this.
For LaRoche, that's her ultimate goal.
By helping them understand themselves more, they can be more conscious about their actions.
LaRoche says she's witnessed a willingness from young athletes who are eager to change the narrative, adding that she's hopeful for the next generation. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, London, Ontario.
Now to a mid-air scare averted after a grandmother stopped a passenger who allegedly tried storming the cockpit. Now we're hearing from the woman who stepped in. ABC's Mola Lengi has the story.
This is the fallout after a Georgia grandmother took down an unruly passenger she says was trying to storm the cockpit.
I felt like my life was in danger.
Nicole Pruitt was on Delta Flight 937 from Atlanta to Tucson last week when she said she noticed a woman repeatedly trying to enter the plane's cockpit.
I got her down on the ground. It wasn't hard to do because I think she wasn't even expecting it. And at that moment, I told the flight attendants, I said, could you please get some restraints for her? And I would say she was very strong, but my determination was even stronger.
The Army vet and grandmother to 7 grandchildren says her military training was crucial in de-escalating the incident.
I knew that I had to take care of myself at the end of the day.
The flight was rerouted back to Atlanta before redeparting for Tucson. The FAA confirming the woman was suffering from a medical emergency. Delta Airlines saying in a statement, Delta sincerely appreciates the actions of our crew and customers for de-escalating this situation. We apologize to our customers for the delay and thank them for their understanding.
The flight that was carrying 180 passengers ultimately made it to its destination safely with no reported injuries. The passenger who reportedly caused the incident is not being charged. Mola Lengi, ABC News, Dulles International Airport.
And now we turn our attention to how the stock markets are looking as of today compared to the end of last week. The Canadian dollar is down 1/10 cent. The price of gold is down $25.60. Oil is up $1.55. Natural gas is down 4 cents. Aluminum is up $10.50. In Toronto, the TSX is down 88.93 points. The Venture Index is down 11.70. In New York, the Dow Jones is down 64.36 and Nasdaq is up 70.26. Still ahead is a look at a major art fraud case in Canada. Welcome back. AI and robots are helping restore the legacy of a renowned Indigenous artist following an investigation into a major art fraud case. Here's CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin.
The painter in this Montreal studio is a robot reproducing a masterpiece by renowned Anishinaabe artist Norval Morrisseau. These aren't machine-created fakes, though, to be passed off as real, but replicas used to root out fraud.
This is called Bear Father, Bear Son.
Chloe Ryan heads Acrylic Robotics. She's a painter now armed with a degree in mechanical engineering.
I became very frustrated with how long it would take me to make a piece, and then the fact that I could only sell that one time to one person. I was making $2 an hour.
The fear, of course, is that this will empower robots to replace human creativity. But Ryan says this model helps artists use AI as a tool to make their art more accessible. But what also caught the attention of the late Morrisseau's estate was the technology's potential to help in his fight against forgeries. Morrisseau is known as the grandfather of contemporary Indigenous art in Canada.
With all the systemic racism against him, his art always spoke of love and unity, of interconnectivity and interdependency.
His paintings sell in the millions, but thousands of frauds have flooded the market, making it difficult to authenticate and sell his paintings.
Every time that we would release a painting to the market, it would get faked, a fake print would be made, and a fake print of the fake painting would be made.
The estate turned to robotics and AI to produce concrete data to prove which painting is a fraud.
The better our works get, the better their model has to get to detect them.
Acrylic Robotics creates increasingly precise copies used to train a program called Norval AI. It was developed 3 years ago to detect fakes. Amazon Web Services software helps log millions of details.
So the AI is able to provide this additional lens and this magnifying glass of information that might not be possible to just a naked human eye.
The hope here is that this is a high-tech step in the age-old fight against art fraud. Genevieve Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
That's all our news. For everyone at CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin. Thanks for watching.